What's going on? It's your boy DameSmiff, and this evening I'm going to talk to you guys about how you can be a more educated and more informed fan or consumer of music. And so if you're interested in conversations like this, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you can see more content like this in the future. So this conversation is pretty much going to be helpful for fans to find better people that are on the same page as them, get on the same networks, or even find maybe more informal artists, meaning like more artists that will try to give you information and substance, maybe on their skill, artwork, perspective on an issue you were covering or interested in, and things like that. And this is going to be important to those people because you will realize that when we are getting so much saturated content, no matter the genre you enjoy, if it's rock music, punk music, electronic music, hip hop, and all the subgenres that those split into, when you start to realize how much of it is saturated, you have to really get into what you really are interested in and how you're going to pinpoint the things you want and support and invest into it. Now, the only way you can really do that is if you know what you're investing into, if you're informed, just like regular investing. Like if you're going to put money into a stock or a business or something like that, you need to know how you're going to get your money back. And this can be harder for um, musical and entertainment fan bases because the genre or industry itself doesn't have to teach you. So, for example, in the tech industry, when a new phone or a new feature or some new, cultural phenomenon happens, generally most people who are going to sell you products around this new thing are going to try to teach you how to use it and teach you how to make it work. So, for music, we had to be taught how to stream. We had to be taught how a record player worked, how a CD player worked, a cassette player. Now, you don't really need to learn how to consume music, but you do need to know how to find the music you like. And in that, there is no education. There is no way for you to find out what you enjoy, how you like things, why you like things, and what triggers the things you call enjoyable or bad taste and things like that. And so we'll make another video on what is bad music and what is good music. But in a nutshell, essentially, this is just to show you that a lot of the conversations you will be having with people are with people who are uneducated or uninformed. And this can be overwhelming, especially if you're trying to be a actual artist, like you're actually trying to compete in the marketplace, but it can be a little bit overwhelming as a fan because you won't necessarily find substance in a lot of your conversations. So even like in this conversation, right? I'm talking to you supposedly as like a consumer of music, right? Even if you create it, you're ingesting this, I would assume, as somebody who wants to figure out how I can find music I enjoy, better music, or, music that makes me feel a little better than I do now, right? And that right there is an intention that I think most people don't have. I think for a lot of people, the intention of pursuing, searching, and finding things to enjoy is truly like something you have to practice and you have to work on, because what I've realized is that there are people who will find like a, I don't know, like a top hits from the 90s or the 2000s, and just that's their playlist for the rest of their life. In high school, they found their favorite songs and they just have not searched for any new music. They don't have any input on how to create, how to push the needle, how to adjust the temperature or anything when it comes to culture and music. They are in a way stuck in their favorite decade or their favorite memory or moment. So they're always listening to the same music. They're listening to the same genres of music. When you go to certain occasions, they have the same playlist and it never changes, it never grows or evolves. So what does that mean when it comes to the education of this person when, let's say, new music comes out, new technology comes out, new genres, new styles? Well, in actuality, just like any other genre, they would be a step behind and need to be brought up to speed. So let's bring it to an example of, let's say, tech. Somebody who's been used to, let's say, manually inputting data, meaning they type their information into the computer whether it's their birthday or whether, it's a note or an email they want to send or anything like that. Maybe a script for a video like this they want to read, or maybe they have some kind of like script for a sales call. But fast forward to 2025, we can use artificial intelligence to speed all of that up by automating the creation of these processes or simply just doing them for us, right? But if I was a person who either did not know that existed or rejected the use of these things, I would be a step behind everybody else who was utilizing it to get ahead of me. So, what argument could I truly make for staying in the position I'm in other than nostalgia or some kind of like sentimental value, right? And so I see this a lot with fans and consumers when they have conversations about music, is that a lot of their takes and their personality and opinions and perspectives in music comes from a place that is long gone or just misinformed. So you'll see takes like, usually they'll bring race into hip hop. That's an old take. Or they'll bring age, like people who are a lot older trying to get into certain genres of music, saying that the older musicians shouldn't. That's an old topic. And it's so dated that it kind of like proves to me that you haven't really informed or exposed yourself to new music or information in a long time. Another one is the aesthetic of, let's say, women in entertainment. Like the idea that there's just one or some general aesthetic nowadays is kind of old and dated, which means you probably haven't been exposed to different cultures of women in entertainment, or you know maybe challenged your beliefs on women in entertainment or something like that. So there's a lot of different areas I see people lacking in when it comes to the conversations of entertainment, and it starts to dwindle down to just graffiti. Just statements and graffiti being made as far as like the comment sections or even reactions to music. So if a new artist drops an album and you don't necessarily like the music, it's very rare that you're going to give a review. It's more likely that you as a fan will just say some, you know, ad hominem insult, just some, negative statement, or just a statement in general saying you don't like the album. That right there is something that is not valuable to somebody who's looking for information, right? So what that is just an expression of either your emotion at the time or how you feel about a person, but it doesn't inform the public or whoever's reading it on what you had experienced. So I'll give you an example that has nothing to do with music. So let's say you got into an argument with your boss at work, right? And HR calls you both into the office and they ask you what happened. And you just go, we just got in an argument. And then when they ask your boss what happened, your boss gives all the details of what's going on and, what led up to the situation, what happened afterwards, all the way up into them coming into the office, right? So you're now at a disadvantage because you don't have any information on your perspective to inform, let's say, HR in this example, to give you any leverage in your argument that you had. The same goes with people who are listening to music over and over and over again without searching for new music. And the same goes for people who don't really have any informal or substantial input when it comes to the reaction to music. So if you're generally just listening to music, just going, I don't really like it, or I like it, then your opinion is kind of like flat. It is what it is. You can have it. It is what it is, but it's just flat. But if your opinion with some intention is trying to like express how you feel, what made you feel, and how you feel about the feelings you're feeling, then you can provide a lot more information to people. And this essentially is what I'm doing in this video. So like I could easily got on this video and just said, yeah, you guys are dumb. You guys don't know good music. And then just gave you a top 10 list of my favorite songs. It wouldn't have really explained to you why I'm seeing the things I see, right? I only would say that people aren't really finding good and, let's say, substantial music for them because there isn't really a source of information for them to dive into and to really, glean from. So let me know, what do you think? Is this something that you kind of deal with when you're searching for music? Is it really hard for you to find people that listen to good music, genres of music, or are you one of those people that just don't care and you just been listening to the same things your parents told you to listen to, or since high school? Are you one of those people? Let me know.